Hey there, Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 15th. We're going to jump right in here. You have this influencer card that says you have just the right qualities, a combination of qualities to connect with an audience, inspire change, and create a positive impact. You have this laziness card that says your dreams are so much bigger than your efforts to achieve them. If you want to accomplish great things, you'll have to try harder. I don't really think you're being lazy right now, Sag, but what I will say is that I would, stretch your creativity this week. It's an excellent week for Sagittarius to tap into their creativity. Here you go. You have this Awakening Genius card as well. So, I think that you need to express your genius in the world and, share your creative ideas. So that's like the only thing that I feel that you really need to maybe, quote unquote, try harder with. Although one thing that I've been telling people this week is I don't necessarily think it's a good week to try hard. We have Neptune retrograde and it's on its way back into Pisces. And the challenge with Neptune retrograde is that we have to come from an inspired place. So if we're trying to work hard just to work hard, if we're trying to force things to happen, then we're going to struggle, right? If we come from doing things out of inspiration because they make us feel good, things like that, then we will progress much farther, much faster. So I wouldn't necessarily be trying hard, right? You have the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, and the Ten of Wands coming up in your current general energies. Four of Pentacles can be holding on too tightly to the past. I read intuitively, though. Sometimes I like the Four of Pentacles. Sometimes I don't. And in your reading, I do like it. I am getting more stability here. The other thing is that, his head and his heart here, these two pentacles, are in alignment. One of my favorite people of all time, Greg Braden, says that when your head and your heart become one, you can move mountains. And so sometimes I do like the Four of Pentacles for being in alignment with maybe a mountain that you're trying to climb or something you're trying to do. And you have the moon here. And the moon, there are some mountains in the background. So we will talk about that in a minute. But I do feel that you are in alignment, which again, with the whole inspiration message, right? I feel that when we are inspired, usually we are in alignment. So, this could be very good here, Sag. You have the Four of Cups, definitely something I feel you could be dealing with. And the Four of Cups is about past disappointment. Really, some people read this as a card of thinking the grass is greener on the other side and, things like that, which it definitely can represent. But he has these three cups in front of him and this new opportunity that's reaching out to him. But he's not accepting this new cup because of the past disappointments. And the Four of Cups really says that, this time will be different. And he needs to realize that he has learned a lot from these past disappointments that he can apply to a new situation. I'm pretty sure one of your recent readings was all about you kind of revisiting an idea or revisiting something that you've thought about working on in the past. You have the Six of Cups as well. Six of Cups is a card of innocence and nostalgia. So it can make us think about the past. But this, again, the Six of Cups doesn't only have to be love, right? We can be thinking about things that we wanted to work on, dreams that we had when we were children. Again, I feel this is very much a Neptune and Pisces energy. Neptune will enter back into Pisces next month, October, but it is going to be pretty significant. I talk about it a lot because this is our last chance. We will be dead next time Neptune comes back to Pisces. So I feel we all should be taking advantage of this Neptune and Pisces energy. And we should be following our inspirations. We should be trying to accomplish something that seems impossible even with Neptune and Pisces because we can't. And because also Saturn is there. So, it's a little bit of a blessing to have Saturn with Neptune. If it was just Neptune, then what I would be talking about right now is how what people are believing is a total illusion and might not be possible. But with Saturn there, it's like, hey, yeah, you might be believing or thinking about something that might seem impossible for your life, but if you develop the discipline and work towards it, you will get it with Saturn there. So, now is the time to put in the work into things that are important to you. I also think it would be a good time to work on something that you've tried before that didn't work the last time or maybe even multiple times, because now you can probably get it to work this time. You have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands, we have to be careful with burdens, especially at the end of the year here. It is kind of like a heavier energy at the end of the year. So I do feel, I've been talking about this as well, that we all need to take better care of ourselves at the end of the year here. And kind of like into the beginning of the year. I feel that we should actively be looking for things that are weighing us down. And we should, again, life isn't perfect, so we can't necessarily always make these things perfect. But, if there are things we can do to lighten the load or make things better or smooth any challenges out, that's exactly what I would be focusing on with the Ten of Wands. The other thing with the Ten of Wands is we have to be careful of other people's responsibilities. Sometimes with the Ten of Wands, it can be other people that are putting things onto us that we shouldn't be taking on in the first place, and I would definitely be careful of that this week. Ten of Wands has been a very common energy this week, so it seems to be kind of like in the air. With the Four of Pentacles, you have the High Priestess. If you want love, you do have divine counterparts. I really like the High Priestess and the Hierophant as divine counterparts because they are much more, they're kind of better than the Emperor and the Empress. It's much more spiritually guided connection. So this could be love. As I will probably say this to you a million times between now and 2033. With Uranus in Gemini in your opposite sign, you really are probably downloading a lot of ideas here, Sag. And I would be paying attention to those downloads that you're receiving in dreams, daydreams, just randomly while you're driving the car, random ideas that pop into your head. With the Four of Cups, you have the Ace of Swords. You can be victorious this time around. So, it's like something that wasn't a win in the past can be a win now in the near future. And also, by the way, mountains. We were talking about the mountain with the Four of Pentacles and the moon. So, again, I think that you are in alignment. The Ace of Swords is laser-like focus. It says when you make something your focus, when you make something a focus, that is when you can truly become successful. The Ace of Swords is also about cutting things out, Ten of Wands, right? So with the Ace of Swords, we have this palm frond over here, this olive branch here. The palm fronds in the tarot can represent a sacrifice, and the olive branch can be an offer of peace, but it can also be abundance. So sometimes we have to, lighten the load is kind of the message I'm getting for you, Sagittarius, as much as you can. And again, like I said, you don't even have to be perfect. It's really just about doing things to make things lighter, whatever you can, even if it's just something small. And I feel if you do that, that will probably lead to a win. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, finding better ways of doing things. Two of Swords is my card of third place solutions. She is thinking this or that, but there's like a third place over here. There's a better option. Not only that, you go up to the Eight of Swords here, and Eight of Swords is only seeing one way of doing things when there are many. So there could be much better ways for you to be doing things that you're working on or working towards. But you have to, be open to other ways of doing things with the Eight of Swords to find success. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, yes, you have this Willing Release card and this Awakening Genius card. So, like we already said, it seems to me like you're cutting things out with that Willing Release card, or you're letting something go. It is a genius time for you, for sure. Gemini is considered a genius, and Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Uranus loves being in Gemini, so I feel, I've been talking about this for years, that till 2033, we're in a time of chaos. The energy is chaotic. Uranus and Gemini, Uranus loves Gemini, but it's definitely a little bit chaotic. But at the same time, if we ground our ideas during Uranus and Gemini, we could discover something genius. We could discover our own genius as well, which I feel this reading is encouraging you to do. That could be where your wins are really coming from. You have the Three of Pentacles, Six of Cups, and the Moon. Three of Pentacles would be about putting your genius on display, right? He is putting his work on display here, and he's putting something out into the world. Number one, I am getting that you might need help from other people. He kind of has, he has a stake, but these people have the sizzle. It's kind of like you have the goods, you have the ability to create something, but maybe other people can help you present something to the world, or get something out, or maybe other people can help support you. I think that's the important thing sometimes with the Three of Pentacles, is that ultimately he is the one that has created something amazing, but these people are coming in a support position. So, and this has come up for you for a while, Sag, that it would be a really good time to make sure that the people in your life are coming in a support position. Now, that's not always easy. Maybe you don't have these people, but finding people who support your vision would also be important. This lady right here also has these polka dots on her cloak, and polka dots in the tarot kind of represent taking things too seriously. And so I would be more, it seems to be a very serious time, and I would just be, it kind of says like, be more playful, do kind of take a more playful approach to your work. Like I said, if you're trying hard, I don't like that word on that laziness card. It says you'll have to try harder. I don't think that's true. I think it's a bad time to try harder, because it's like you're forcing something. We can't force things with Neptune retrograde. It never works. It's just like banging your head against the wall, right? And so with Neptune retrograde, it wants that there will be, it's kind of hard during Neptune retrograde because we feel the pressure of the world. There are certain pressures, like maybe we need to make money or maybe we need to do something else. But with Neptune, it's like you notice these moments where you will feel very inspired and you will do work. And then there might be moments of laziness, which are probably necessary, to recharge your batteries and things like that. So we have to live a more inspired life right now. And, that's what I mean by following your inspirations. Like when you feel motivated, great, work, do things that motivate you and do things that make you feel excited. But if that motivation goes away, also don't worry and don't try to, brute force your way through it. It's better to just say like, okay, the universe is telling me to chill out right now. I just don't have the inspiration at this moment, but it will return in the near future, and it will, right? The funny thing is if you do that, if you tell yourself like, I just need to take a minute to just, hang out and there's no need to rush, there's no need to force things, then Neptune will bring you the inspiration, right? So there you go. You have the Six of Cups. The other thing is that Neptune loves the playfulness as well. So again, if instead of saying like, oh, I need to make money, I need to make this person love me, or I need this to happen. If we're just willing to be a little bit more playful with the energy, then again, Neptune also really likes that and will help us, kind of move forward. So I kind of get that energy on the Six of Cups. I don't really feel it's so much talking about the past as it is talking about the childlike energy that the Six of Cups can represent. So I feel like being more playful, childlike is, of course, what this is asking. You have the Moon. Again, the Moon, is part of the Fool's journey. I always say the Fool, he doesn't really know where he's going. He knows he maybe needs to get to these mountains, but there is darkness. And, if you've ever been outside on a full moon, the full moon casts shadows, right? So it's like some things might be illusions, some things might be real that the Fool is looking at when he gets to the moon. And again, Neptune retrograde. Neptune retrograde is like some things might be an illusion, some things might be real. And again, the trick is to just kind of be willing to experiment, be willing to just like, if you get an idea, just try it a little bit and see where it goes. If it's an illusion, that's fine. You can, try something else later. The other thing with the moon is we kind of have to face fear a little bit. And this isn't like, I don't think you're facing any, really scary fears. I think you're facing fears that are more like needing to believe in yourself more. Needing to believe that you are strong enough to do the things you want to do. You have the Strength card here. And, I also feel with the Hierophant, it's kind of funny because the Hierophant right next to this Moon card in your reading here, it's like the Hierophant is kind of saying to me, you know everything you need to know. So it's about, not doubting your own genius, like that Awakening Genius card says. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Five of Wands. Yeah, Five of Wands is conflict and competition. I feel that some of you might be trying something again where you feel like there is a lot of competition. Maybe there is, but, I feel what you need to realize is that you probably have your own unique way of doing things. The Three of Pentacles, there's this fire triangle right here, and there's a water triangle right here. The water triangle below it, this kind of represents he added something a little bit extra to the project. He made it a little bit unique to him. And I feel that's what you need to realize. If you're trying to do anything, like work, business, career, love even, whatever, where you feel like there's competition, there probably is, but, there are probably also things that you can do to stand out. With the Six of Cups, you have the Tower. Everybody's had the Tower this week, and so, I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me if there were some global Tower moments happening at this time. And, we've already seen a couple this week, so eclipses are always a little bit sketchy. They can eclipse things out of our lives. They can shake foundations and things like that, so it doesn't really surprise me. The other thing I would say is I would be careful of X's at this time. A lot of people have had kind of like things about exes coming back. And, again, if you don't want that type of shakeup, I would be careful. With the moon, here you go. You have the Queen of Swords. Again, she is looking over to the Hierophant. The Queen of Swords only has clouds halfway up her body, and she is seeing things clearly for the first time. So there is definitely something about you gaining clarity, but also like the Hierophant is saying to me, to you in your reading, that you already know what you need to know, right? So I feel that is, the level of confidence that you should have. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this masculine energy card and this patience card. I think that, like we already talked about, the type of patience you need to have. I feel not only this week, I feel until, probably until March of next year, there will be moments where you feel very inspired and, take advantage of it, right? Double down on your energy. And that might be, as long as you're inspired, that is an okay time to work hard. But when you don't feel inspired, then it might be time to, take a rest or, even better than that, do something playful. The thing about Neptune is we can look for inspiration. We can do things that do inspire us. We have to find the inspiration. So, do something playful, do something fun. And that's what I would do here. You have the Eight of Swords, the Strength card, and the Hierophant. The Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction. It's about only seeing one way of doing things when there are many. Again, the Hierophant can also represent inside-the-box thinking. So I don't feel this is a bad thing, Sag, but I do feel it's saying that you should be flexible with your options, or maybe you need to research other ways of getting attention or standing out, doing your work, finding love, whatever it is. I feel this reading is very general. I feel it's talking about everything you want. And so as long as you stay flexible and realize there are other ways of doing things, you'll be fine. You have the Strength card, which is patience. And so, patience is coming up twice in this part of the reading. The Strength card is about working on your inner voice. This right here, the lion, she is taming that lion. It's her inner voice or her inner critic, but she is the one that's in control, and it's submitting to her. So I feel, and it is an excellent time. I mean, I've said this to everyone, even in the eclipse readings. I said, we have this eclipse on the 21st in Virgo. It's a really good time, I feel, for people to work on themselves, to conquer themselves. And so a lot of you, it's like the only person you have to compete with, maybe that's what the Five of Wands is saying, is that the only person you really are competing with is yourself. And maybe that's what you need to realize. And maybe you need to act that way as well, because, I feel there's a lot of success here if you do something where there might be competition, because, again, I feel you will stand out because of what you can do. You have the Hierophant. I do feel pretty good about this still. Like, of course, I would think outside the box and all that. But he is blessing these two people in front of him. So I do feel there could be blessings coming in for you this week. But it's probably like the blessing. It's like you are realizing a blessing that you already have, if that makes sense, is the feeling I get here. You're awakening genius. You're discovering something about yourself. And, the universe could be kind of shining a light on that blessing, especially with the Three of Pentacles as well. Again, he's getting attention for the work he's done on the Three of Pentacles. So, I feel the universe could be showing you something that you are good at. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Seven of Wands. A little bit of stubborn energy. I don't know. I'm not calling you. I'm super stubborn as well. I get it. Like, sometimes I get attached to an idea and I never let it go. And I just feel like maybe there's a little bit of stubborn energy with this and the Eight of Swords. I feel it's just saying, open up to other ways of doing things, like I already said. With the Strength card, here you go. You have the Six of Cups again. So we have the Six of Cups twice. This could say that you need to have the strength to be more playful in life. It could also say, the Six of Cups can be about handling something too carefully as well. This little girl here, this right here, it looks like an oven mitt to me sometimes. So sometimes I feel that the Six of Cups can be a symbol or, a message or whatever, that we are being too careful with something. Maybe we are too afraid of breaking things, in business or work or whatever. And that could be the thing that is holding you back. Maybe you're playing it too safe. So, of course, I'm not telling you to put yourself in danger, but, there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit more risk in work or business or love or, speaking up more even with the Three of Pentacles. And, I would do that. With the Hierophant, sure, we'll take both. You have two cards. You have the Two of Wands, and then the Nine of Wands flipped out when I pulled that Two of Wands. Two of Wands is about taking the lead, and I do feel it's a good time for you fire signs to take the lead on things that you want to see in the world, or to create the things that you want to see in the world. And that is probably what this is asking you to do. Remember what I said, it's almost like you're doing something again, or you're trying something again. And that would be the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands says don't give up. And so I feel a lot of you could be, kind of thinking about working on things that you are going to try again. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have a swimming card. It says subconscious emotions and deep feelings. A lot of deep, emotional stuff this week. So moon as well. You have this false friends. It says ulterior motives, disingenuous, and selfish. This is coming up in the good stuff, so I wouldn't be too worried about this. But one thing I will say about eclipses is that eclipses can absolutely uncover people who are, doing things behind our back, doing things that are hidden, anything like that. So, it's coming up in the good stuff. I wouldn't worry too much about it. And, for some of you, this could even be positive, because it could be the fact that you are getting positive karma, or, you could be getting like a sense of justice from something that happened. Again, it seems to be like a very deep week where, we could be swimming around in our subconscious, doing a lot of inner work. You have the King of Wands, the Fool, and the Knight of Pentacles. King of Wands could be you showing up here in a strong position here, Sag. So, again, whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength. He has this lizard right here and these lizards on his cloak as well. These are supposed to be salamanders, and salamanders in the tarot represent protection from fire. So they kind of represent protection from risk. And it's funny that, again, you have the oven mitt, which would kind of protect you from getting burned. So I feel maybe some of you that this is definitely saying it would be a good time to take some bigger risks where that would normally, kind of make you feel like you're being burned. Like, I'm talking about the fear of judgment, So some of you might be facing that fear this week. But again, this would be a good thing. It's like you could be putting your work on display with the Three of Pentacles, which could get you judged. You could be speaking up at work or in business or in love. And, again, those would be good risks to take. You have the Fool. Again, kind of surprised me that almost everyone, I think, has had the Fool this week. I'm pretty sure. Almost everybody. And, eclipses can kind of bring in new beginnings. And, but I don't know. I feel weird about the time that we're in. It's like I feel, what I feel is that I feel that people will actually be moving on from things very quickly. It's like things that we would normally hold on to. I feel people are just kind of being very matter of fact at this time, which actually is probably pretty good. I feel people could just be saying, well, this idea isn't working, so I just need to do this next thing, or this part of my life isn't working, so I just need to, take a leap of faith in this new direction. So again, I feel kind of pretty good about this. You also have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles in the good stuff is progress. So I do feel a lot of you are clearly making progress, probably in work here, Sag. Work has been changing for you, and I feel a lot of you could be seeing a lot of progress. With the King of Wands, you have the Death card. Significant change week with this, eclipse here. So this kind of stuff, it doesn't really surprise me. Whenever I get stuff like death, like in an eclipse week, especially the last eclipse of the set, being in Virgo, that it's, like I said, it doesn't really surprise me, because that's exactly what happens with eclipses. We go through changes. With the Fool, you have the Fool. So basically the universe saying I meant what I said. Definitely time to take a leap of faith. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it's time to change our fortunes at this time. You always get the Wheel of Fortune with me. The Wheel of Fortune is your card, but you have to be the one to change with the Wheel of Fortune. We have to double down on the good stuff, get rid of the bad stuff with the Wheel of Fortune. Ultimately, we control the direction of the wheel with the Wheel of Fortune. So we have to make sure we're doing things that get the wheel to spin forward. You have this vulture. It says depression, anxiety, worry that someone is against you. I've been warning people about this for a while. Last year, we had Mars go retrograde in Leo. Into this year, we just had Mercury go retrograde in Leo, almost in exactly the same spot. Next year, we're going to have Jupiter go retrograde in Leo. And so Mars retrograde in Leo is notorious for making people feel this way right here, that people are working against you. And so even though we don't have Mars retrograde in Leo, we've had 3 retrogrades, or we're about to have a third one next year. And I don't know, it just could make people feel this way. So I just, it's probably just that energy. You have this ear card. It says good news on it. Yeah, it could be. We don't really see any news. Well, you do have the Knight of Pentacles. Knights are considered messengers in the tarot, so there could be some good news coming in. You have this gavel. It says involvement with the law. I feel this is justice, like I just said with that false friend card. So if someone did you dirty in the past, this could be a sense of justice coming in for you. Some of you definitely could be dealing with the law with a person. So, this could be justice in that if you're dealing with that. You have this dolphin card. It says financial gain usually coming from something you did in the past. Yes. The whole entire reading is saying give something another chance. Give something another shot. And it absolutely could be financial. So I feel a lot of you, could be working on something again or doing something again here, which would be great. You have this torch card. It says spiritual development, enlightenment, awareness, and understanding. Yeah, we are in a time of significant spiritual development. So, it doesn't really surprise me. But pretty straightforward stuff here, Sag, as always. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.